Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. It is Wednesday. I'm Peter Martin. Thank you for joining us on the programme. In the studio tonight, Alan Ruff and Barry Ferguson. Which one of them has been playing 2 rounds of golf? Answers on a postcard, please. Here's what we're going to talk about tonight. No surprise that the tributes have continued to pour in for Billy McNeill, not only from the UK but right across the globe. So many clubs paying tribute to the great man, and of course today none better than John Greig actually turning up at Celtic Park at the statue to lay a wreath, Barry.
Yeah, I thought it was a touch of class for Greggy. I know him and Billy McNeill were big rivals on the pitch, but they were good friends off it as well. So, no, I was delighted to see John Greig pop up and put the flowers down. As I said, I thought it was a touch of class. Yeah,
and again, it just kind of highlights the absurdity at times of rivalries. Some people don't get the fact that players in the 60s and 70s, they were great friends off the park, Ruffy.
Yeah, they certainly were. I always recollect them always going into the town after training down in Buchanan Street. They used to meet up regularly. They would all sit in there, Dixie and the Dixie Deans and the Rangers players, Sandy Jardine, they'd all be sitting there having a coffee together, you know, which obviously in this day I don't think would happen, but it happened then. And they were pals. They actually went out together. Way back then, they actually could go into the town and enjoy themselves. I mean, Barry will know how difficult that is now. You know, present day players are living your life in a city as small as ours.
Yeah. What are the players though that you would have gone on with off the park who'd played for Celtic that you bumped into, or was it just it became difficult?
No, I bumped into Neil Lennon on a few occasions in the West End area, and I would have a beer with him. I had no problems. Listen, respect off the pitch. Come 3 o'clock or whatever, you cross that white line, you want to get one over and you're massive rivals. But off it, listen, I was the same with every Celtic player. I totally respected them, but game time, the respect went out the window.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the respect that you can see right across all forms of media for Billy McNeill was there for all to see. None more so than, of course, fans.
Tributes have continued to pour in for Celtic legend Billy McNeill following his passing on Monday night. Flowers, shirts and even photographs of people with the great man have been left by his statue outside Celtic Park. It's evident what McNeill meant to people, not only as a player, a captain and a manager, but also as a man and the values he stood for. Celtic fans from all over have been to commemorate the life of the Hoop's greatest ever captain, known simply as Caesar. Fans from other Scottish clubs, including Hibernian and Rangers, have paid their respect, as well as Manchester City, who McNeill managed, and Inter Milan, the club who were victims of his finest hour in the green and white jersey. He'll be sorely missed around these parts, but as shown by the outpouring of emotion, Billy McNeill, one of the greatest ever Celts, will never be forgotten.
No surprise Celtic are asking the league if it's okay for every player to wear the number 5 shorts against Kilmarnock. It would be a nice tribute. It has happened before for Jimmy Johnson. I think it would be fitting of the ultimate, the greatest ever captain.
Yeah, it'd be absolutely fantastic at the weekend. It's something that the fans would definitely buy into. It'll be a full stadium. And obviously there'll be a minute's silence as well, and the respect will be there for everybody to see, as it will be at every ground at the weekend. We had a minute's silence last night, but I'm sure, you know, every fixture at the weekend will buy into it as well.
Yeah, and a nice touch from one of Celtic's greatest ever players as well. You could pick any one of hundreds down through the years. I'm sure that you've got your own favourite, but one personal favourite of mine is Kenny Dalglish, who said that Billy was an inspirational leader and of course helped him in his early days when he was at Celtic, not only on the park but sometimes taxiing him to the park as well. But a lovely tribute there from King Kenny as well. So from Billy McNeill and all the tributes that have been paid to him, let's move on to other issues with regards to football. The Player of the Year Awards, we're looking forward to it. It's on May 5th at the Hilton in Glasgow. We will find out the Premiership nominees next week, but this week, in fact earlier today, the nominees for the lower divisions have been released. Championship first of all. Of course, let's have a look at the four of them: Dobie, Mackay, Safranco and Shanklin. Where's your money on, Ruffy?
My money is going to be on Stephen Dobie. I think he's had a fantastic season, committed himself to the club, and you can just see, you know, where Queen of the South are just now. You know, with him, they've got nearly the best goal difference in all the teams that are down at the bottom of the league, and the reason is him. The others are very good goal scorers as well. And the other thing as well, it's very noticeable that Dobie, Mackay and Shanklin are all out the team now, and these three teams are struggling.
Yeah,
you know, it just shows you, you know, if you get a really good striker, it's half the battle. I think the Dundee United boy's been out with injury. He is a quality striker, but for me it's Dobie.
Yeah, 33 goals in 38 games for Shanklin. I mean, on any normal other season, he'd have been thinking, oh, I'm a shoe-in for this, but Dobie out with an injury, as Ruffy said. Don't think he'll kick a ball this season. We had him on the show a few weeks ago, and he was talking about maybe breaking the all-time goal-scoring record at Queen of the South, and then, as luck would have it, he's out injured and he's stuck on 39.
Yeah, well, he's committed for another season, so I'm sure he will break it next season. For me, hands down, he wins it. I've played with Dobie, and he's a special talent. He can score all types of goals, whether it's a 30-yarder, tap-in, free kick, all-round proper footballer. So for me, he wins it easily. Okay,
as far as the rest of the division is concerned, what about League One? We've got Wraith Rovers' Kevin Nisbet, also Bobby Lynn of Arbroath, Dave Hilson and Dom Thomas. Well, this one's slightly tougher. Dom Thomas has certainly caught the eye since moving away from Motherwell.
Yeah, when he first broke in, I liked him. His career's kind of... he struggled a wee bit, but he's went out to Dumbarton and he's scored some important goals and he's played some very good football. But for me, I've seen quite a few League One games. If you're asking me, one of the nominations, it's Bobby Lynn for me. He's a special talent, Bobby Lynn.
Yeah, Bobby Lynn is a player. I mean, regularly we have a laugh on social media together. I mean, he scores goals. He's a crucial player as well at Arbroath down through the years. You always hear his name at weekends when there's goals.
Yeah, and there's nominations as well. I'm sure you've interviewed him quite a lot of time over the last 3 or 4 years, you know, been up on the stage. And but I agree with Barry. I remember the young boy Thomas coming into the Motherwell side.
He's still on loan at Kilmarnock.
And everybody was raving about him. Everybody was saying this is the new James McFadden, and for whatever reason, you know, it never worked for him. So yeah, he's still got a lot to offer.
Yeah, what about League Two? This is an interesting selection. David Goodwillie is there, Blair Henderson, John Rank still looking absolutely magnificent, Chris Johnson as well at Annan, a former Kilmarnock player, Chris. We've had him on the show as well, Ruffy. So where's your money there?
It's a difficult one for me, this one. Obviously, I'm not in touch with that division, but certainly the two Clyde boys, we ranks, we've had him in here, and every time I hear him, he's enjoying his football, a local lad at Cumbernauld. I've got a wee sneaky feeling for ranks, you know, because he's been in the game so long.
Yeah, okay. Oh, a wee bit of sentimentality kicking in. Barry, give us the facts. Who wins it?
I think, look, 4 good players, no doubt. I know quite a lot about them. Obviously, Ranks has just went into League Two, an experienced player, but Blair Henderson's been a difference for Edinburgh City. I'm surprised how well Edinburgh have done this year. He scored a hell of a lot of goals. So he'll just pip it for me. Okay,
that was a wonderful way that Barry just gave Ruffy a custard pie there. I know a lot about this division. That's Barry's way of saying what you've heard previously from Ruffy means he knows nothing about this division. So I'll give you the facts. So get your money on Blair Henderson. Anyway, coming up, we are going to discuss Rangers in this next part. Should they be spending big to make sure that Celtic don't win 10 in a row? What about the Scotland manager? Lots of people now offering their thoughts on who they think it should be. We'll have a look at that shortlist after the quiz. There's always a wee clue in the quiz that just opens the door, Ruffy. Was there a particular one there that gave you an insight into the year without mentioning the year?
No, I think it was the Marseille one, because there was a bit of scandal round about that one. For some reason or another.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was
By the way, honestly, any chance to leather you back after your first half shenanigans? Yeah, of course. I mean, it was the year potentially when Rangers would have been looking and thinking Champions League final.
Yeah, I remember it as a young boy watching that year, in that era. I thought Rangers had a fantastic football team with some top international players.
Yep, absolutely. Still, enough about Scott Nisbet. Let's move on.
Is he?
Yeah, exactly.
What a goal he scored.
It was a great goal against...
Best goal I've seen at Ibrox.
Against Bruges.
I remember that, I was there.
It was the best goal I've seen at Ibrox. I think it took 2 deflections on the way, and then when the keeper came, Ruffy, there was that much of a backspin on it, it went right over his head.
Yeah. Snowing at the ball, didn't it?
Yeah, it was, listen, if he dines out on it from now until doomsday, you wouldn't begrudge him it. Scott Nisbet's goal in that match against Bruges. So what about... the SFA, are they going to move quickly on this, Ruffy? Because the candidates, we've got Steve Clarke's name in there, Jack Ross, Derek McInnes also, David Moyes possibly in there, Scott Gemmell from within the camp at Scotland, and Malky Mackay's name has been mentioned as well. Are there any other candidates out with that they should be looking at, or is it a case of, look, get somebody in quickly? Because there is a suggestion they could maybe wait till June beyond the 2 games coming up against Cyprus and Belgium.
Yeah, I think they possibly will. I think they will. I think they'll put Malky Mackay in there and Scott Gemmell. They did that, remember, at the Aberdeen game. I think it was a friendly.
Yeah.
They want to take their time because they need to get it right. If they don't get it right, they're going to get slaughtered by the media, big time. And they better pick somebody that the media will buy into as well, because we've already seen that if they're not happy with what you're picking, they'll let you know. I think the dangerous one are the 2 players who are in clubs already for whatever reason. I've already stated Derek, the long term with Aberdeen, the new stadium, the new training ground. And again, that Stevie Clarke has identified, just in a wee message, he might want to go back to London with his family, to Fulham. So these guys need to come out and let us know, are they candidates or are they not? Because we need anybody who's not interested, and I throw David Moyes into that as well. If David Moyes is going to say, thinking I'm going to hang on to a reasonable club comes along for me, get them out the way, get everybody out the way, because there's no point in us debating people who are not 100% into wanting this job.
Okay, 2 quick points. One, to shoot you down, I don't think any credence should be paid to what the media think on this one, because I think it's what the fans are looking at is quite simply qualification.
Yeah, I don't think it is rushing in. They sacked Alec a week ago. They've got 7 weeks, I think, before the double header. So they've got plenty of time to identify who they want and go and get them. Because they made an absolute mess of the Alec McLeish situation. So for me, it's no rushing in. I don't think it is. So I think they should decide in the next week or 2, go and make your move and get the man to take Scotland forward. Yeah,
the preferred option from the Tartan Army at the moment seems to be Steve Clarke. Now, my attitude to this, Ruffy, is quite simply, you're talking about find out if they want it or not. I think it should be about the SFA going and saying, look, we want you to become the manager. We will offer you this as a huge incentive to show how much we want you. Come and join us. You don't need to stay in Scotland. You can live in London. You can come up and watch the games, and then you can go down there and look at games as well. Your family are not going to be affected. You'll be close to your family as well. It's the perfect job for Steve Clarke, I think.
Yeah, and they can move on that very, very quickly, because he'll be up meeting them quite soon after the weekend, and the carry on was there, so they could just slide them into a wee room and just say, here, you're the guy we want, and let's see if you're interested, and then they'll get a feedback then while he is, and obviously if he gives them any encouragement, then you go for him, and if he isn't, then you move on.
Yeah, absolutely, and maybe you could strike a deal where he gives them a huge amount of money for the fines, and then he gets it back in the overall deal, because boy, I think he's going to get leathered, Barry.
Yeah, I think he is, but listen, you've got to look at the bigger picture. Look at the job he's done. Look how they Kilmarnock players play for him. And I do think he is up there. I think him and Derek are the two top ones that I would identify, and obviously I've got to make a quick decision. What one do we want? So for me, two of them I think would do a fantastic job for Scotland.
Yeah, okay. What about Rangers? We have Paul Murray coming out in the media talking about the fact that he doesn't believe Rangers will spend cash that they don't have. We've got to get Rangers to the best level we can get them, and I don't think anyone on the board is going to be taking undue risks to do that financially after everything that has happened to the club over the years. I would think it's a question of focusing on Rangers and trying to get them to be the best they can be. If that leads to stopping Celtic, then it is a consequence of that, but we can't really control what Celtic do, or indeed any other team. The other thing is that football comes in cycles. When we were winning 9 in a row, you could never see an end to it, but teams break up, players leave, managers leave, people lose form, injuries and suspensions come along. It can change. There are a lot of variables in football that you can't control, and I think some wise words from him there.
Yeah, I get where he's coming from, but it does need money, it does need investment, the Rangers squad. I think this year there's certainly been steps going forward, there's no doubt about it. There was a big overhaul of players in the summer. I think he's made some good signings, some signings have not worked, which happens in football. But I think this is a big summer for the manager, and he knows that himself. And I do think he needs funds. I don't think he'll get tens of millions, but I do think they'll back him, because Dave King has come out and says that in the summer they will financially back Steven Gerrard. If he identifies a player, they'll try and get him for him.
Yeah, despite the record, Ruffy, which is not really, it hasn't really set the heather on fire. I think the European run, everybody acknowledges Steven Gerrard exceeded expectations, and Rangers in Europe in the Europa League. Other than that, domestically, the more Rangers fans say to me that they're playing better football. That's what they like about it, playing better football. But I think this summer, the type of player, the calibre of player that he can buy, and then he has to get off to a flyer for me, because I think the Steven Gerrard glow will be lost if they don't feel, the Rangers fans, that they're in there right at the start. Yeah,
but first of all, they will have money. They'll have 40,000 season tickets coming in, which is an awful lot of money.
Yeah.
And if there isn't any of that money going elsewhere to pay off the soft loans, then he's got money. And he will use it wisely, because, as Barry said, the player that he's brought in is a better quality, but I think he needs 3 or 4, first team quality, not guys that are going to be sitting on the bench.
But again, can I just interrupt you there on this point? And this is something that's relevant to all clubs, Barry, including Celtic. I always say, for every Wanyama and Van Dijk, you can think of 9 or 10 failures.
Yep.
That's the nature of it now. The market that Celtic and Rangers are dealing in, there's a real gamble on whether somebody comes up trumps. You could possibly look and say, okay, Celtic have sold Dembele. Next out the door could be Cham. Boyata goes for nothing. Rangers are the same. They're looking, they're saying, what sellable assets have we got to bolster the season ticket money? It's a Morelos.
Yeah, but exactly. You just took the words out of my mouth. They got him in for, I think, £1 million. In the market, what's he worth? 8 million? 10 million touching?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of market that Rangers are looking at. Guys that can come in, do well, sell on, make a good profit on it, and then put it back into the first team squad. Yeah,
okay, it'll be interesting to see how it all develops over the summer. One thing that is developing, and it's been a dramatic twist, we didn't get a chance to talk about it on Monday, but look at our predictor. Suddenly, Ferguson, who's been adamant that he would catch me, has actually just caught up with me. He's 5 points ahead now, Ruffy. You're so far back, you're going to be paying for our meal, but 5 points ahead.
Yeah, he's come with a late run. There are another 4 sets of fixtures to come in.
That's Ruffy's way of saying you haven't won it yet.
No, I was encouraged by what I got last week, and another couple of them would be a bonus. But no, I think he's hit the front at the right time. But be good to keep my eye on that.
Man City for both of you. No way Man United can do Liverpool a major favour, Ruffy.
I think it'll be tight, but I think at the end of the day, Man City players know exactly what's on the line in this one.
Yep, okay. It's all about opinions. You can give us yours across social media. One little footnote, it's 5 years to the day since we lost Sandy Jardine as well. Great players across both halves of the old firm. Sandy was a magnificent man, just like Billy McNeill, gone too soon. Thanks very much to everyone for contributing to the programme. Thanks to Ruffy and Barry. Barry will be back with us on Friday. From myself, Peter Martin, thanks for watching the show.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.